their messages, their work, so they can get inspired and help educate on different topics concerning life, business, entrepreneurship. And today I have the amazing honor to have two really cool guests on that will be talking about sharing about their story a little bit, and also we'll be talking about the topic of parenting. So welcome, Shari and Karissa. Thank you so much for finding time to come on our show today.
Thank you for having us.
It will be a pleasure. I'm sure I will be learning a lot from you as well. So it's really great to connect. So I wanted to ask you guys to start with introducing yourselves. So whichever want to go first.
I'll jump in. So I'm Shari Medini. We are the co-authors of the new book, Parenting While Working from Home, which is a monthly guide to help our fellow parents balance their careers, connect with their kids, establish their inner strength. I have two boys. I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I have been working from home for over a decade. So before all of this craziness of the past year, it was something that I had really found strategies, and Karissa can speak to that as well, that worked well for me. And it felt like a great opportunity to share that with our fellow parents that might be thrown into this for the first time, because trying to run your own business, trying to work from home when you have little ones, it's not easy. So hopefully we can share some tips and strategies throughout the episode today, and everyone will be able to walk away with little inspiration and some ideas fresh in their head.
Absolutely. I know there's such a need for your advice today, so I'm really excited as well. My kids are a little bit older, but I know how challenging it could be when they are up to 7, as your kids' ages, where they need more of that physical attention. So juggling both can definitely be a challenge. As they get older, they do get a little bit more independent, because mine are my 13 and preteen sort of phase. So yeah, thank you so much for introducing yourself and coming on. And Karissa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Karissa. I have 4 children that range in age from 12 years old all the way down to 8 months old. And my husband and I live in Charleston, South Carolina. And I have also been working from home for about a decade now. And like Shari said, we've learned a lot of strategies and tips along the way, especially with 6 kids between us. So we're really excited to share all of that today.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. 4 kids. How do you do it?
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really cool. So
I'm amazed. Whenever I'm stressed out, I just think, okay, well, at least I don't have a baby. At least 2 is easier than 4, right? I can handle it. I can manage. If Karissa's hanging in there, I can hang in there.
Yeah, it's a good inspiration story right there when the going gets tough. And so let's talk about that. What are some of the major struggles that you guys find parents deal with as far as juggling life and work and all of that?
Yeah, I think one of the things we hear about a lot about and have questions about from our readers and, these podcasts that we're getting to do is, how do you balance it all? There are just a lot of things that we're responsible for. There are a lot of things that have to happen in our daily, weekly, monthly lives. So how do we do that? And something that I've adopted in my own life, something that we write about in the book as well, is something that Karissa has been doing for a while. I don't know if you want to jump in and share a little bit about that, but it's mostly about, we're not necessarily going to be able to find balance over the course of 24 hours. So zooming out and thinking of balance over the course of a week. So how can I accomplish things, feel productive, make sure that everybody that needs me is getting a piece of me, but maybe not in a day, but in a longer time frame. But Karissa, if you want to speak to that a little bit.
Sure. Something that I realized when I had 3 toddlers in the house was, if I was trying to work, keep up with the house, keep up with all of their needs, I just felt spent at the end of the day. And I didn't feel like I was doing any one of those areas really to the best of my abilities. So I started doing this thing where I pick an overarching theme for the day. Of course, every day I have work emails I have to respond to. I have baby bottles to wash. I have there's certain things that you just have to do every day. But what my overarching theme of the day is, that's my focus. And it allows me to let the other little things go for the day. So, I have 3 areas of focus. One is my family needs, one is my work, and one is the house. And so on work days, I will, let the dishes pile up a little bit more, maybe, skip a load of laundry. I will really just, any moment I get of time, when the kids are entertained or occupied, I will work on through my work projects. And then if I have a house day, in between sending an email here or, doing something, jumping on a call there, I'll start a load of laundry. I'll unload the dishwasher. I'll wash the dishes that have been piling up on the sink. The house then is my focus for that day. And then I also have family days where, of course there's work things that have to get done, but in between that, I'm really intentional about running outside with the kids, sitting on the floor, playing a game with them, doing something like that. And like Shari said, when I then look at my week as a whole, I have accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish in those 3 areas. But it's just a different mindset. Instead of trying to do all of it in those areas every single day, I try to give each day just one focus and allow the other stuff to kind of fall to the side.
I love that focusing, because I feel like also personally, as moms, we try to juggle so much, and we always have this guilt feelings over if our business is going well, then we might be dropping the ball with the parenting, or with the housework, or with the partner, or with the other things, right? So I feel like we all struggle with this. So I identify with that as well, to kind of have set days in our calendar where we do have the family day, right? Where we do have a day we all go out, or where we have a day that we have all our dinners. I mean, ideally every night, but I don't think that is something that we all can fit in. So what do you guys think about that? That having dinners, I know it's very good, obviously, for the connection with our kids, but based on the way that our life is, I don't think, as personally, I haven't been able to figure out a good happy balance with that. But definitely having certain days and having that recurrent schedule for the consistency part as well, it's, I think, very helpful as well.
And I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I think we hear a lot about family dinners. Every day needs to look the same. We need that routine. Our kids need that routine. And while routines can be very important, and obviously a lot depends on the age of your kids, the reality of entrepreneurship is that every might look a little different. That your clients, you might not hear anything one day and hear from 10 people the next, and you have to jump on it, and you have to take those opportunities, and you have to run with it. And that's okay. That as long as we're tuning in and our kids are happy and healthy and learning and growing, we're doing okay. And if that means that we sit together and eat lunch, or we sit together and eat breakfast, or it's not even a meal, that we just take that time to check in and have a little bit of a conversation and make sure they're doing okay, that's okay too. The whole goal of family, like looking at what is the goal of family dinner? It's to reconnect. It's to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to communicate about something that might be bothering them. So if that's the goal, we can do that wherever. We can do that in the car. We can do that at the playground. We can do that before bed. So really trying to give yourself permission that those rules don't have to be quite so stringent, that they're meant to be guidelines. They're meant to help support everybody. But we're not living in a 9-to-5 world anymore. So our kids, sometimes they're in virtual school, they're not even living in, a normal schedule anymore. So then we kind of need to rethink some of that so that it works for us.
Absolutely. And you just reminded me of the struggle now with all of us being home. So what are your thoughts on how do we connect with our kids in this world of technology, where all of our attention spans are getting, narrower and narrower, and it's kind of hard to have those meaningful relationships that our kids really need for us and for them to grow and thrive in a healthy family, so then we prepare them for their future. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, having kids with such a big age range, 12 years old to 8 months old, I've noticed that the 8-month-old, he cries whenever he needs something. He is very vocal and lets me know, and I'm constantly, tending to his needs. But I have to be very intentional with the older ones, especially my 12-year-old daughter. I need to make sure that I'm scheduling time to sit with her one-on-one, do something with her individually, because she is more independent. She's not coming up to me and asking me for help with things. So we have a little bit of time every day after school where it's just her and I for about 15 to 20 minutes where we just check in, we talk about her day. We try to have family dinner, like you were saying, but I do have 3 kids that are involved in activities and sports and stuff. So sometimes we're eating in shifts or, eating in the car on the way from one practice to the other. But I do really try to give each of the kids 2 moments at night before bed. And what's great too is we have like 3 different bedtime slots in our house because people are getting up at different times and starting their days at different times. So even like tiering the bedtimes like that allows me to have a little bit more of that one-on-one time with them too in the evening. But it's hard. I hear you, especially with the older ones. They get sucked into that technology. And if we're not intentional about it, it is easy to just miss the opportunity.
And I would say with the technology too, even just the other day, my son, he was playing a game, he was entertained, he was doing his own thing, and it would have been easy for me to go do my own thing and, hop on my phone or get a couple work things done. But I realized I felt like I hadn't touched base with him in a little while. So I just went into his room, sat down beside him, and I was like, "What are you playing?" And he gave me a whole half-hour lecture about that particular video game and the ins and outs and, what he was doing and why he was doing it and what his strategy was. And, just me, I didn't, it didn't really go into my brain. I can't tell you, what happened there. But it was that opportunity that he was able to share something he was passionate about. And all I had to do was just go in and literally just sit beside him. And I think sometimes if we're trying to pry them away at those moments, the other thing that we've really gotten into the habit of doing is that if I do want to pry him away, I'll go in and say, can you get to a good stopping point? Like with your video game or your show or whatever you're doing, instead of being like, you need to get off now and having it be a power struggle. Can you get to a good save point and then I need you? And they do a really good job with that.
Yes, absolutely. The intentional parenting, right? In being intentional in our parenting, because we have so much going on. But that's very true as well. As I go in randomly, just in to check in with them, and they're just kind of like just spill everything. So it's kind of things that they're holding on to. But I think that if we find those right moments and give them choices, right, and help them delegate that out as far as giving them a voice so they could speak about their struggles and their emotional side. Because I feel like as a parent, me growing up, I had to learn a lot about emotionally connecting to my kids because I didn't always have that in my own childhood. So I think that's something that's very emotional. So for me, I had to really work on a lot of my mindset with, I always have to be there. I always have to make sure that I help them with their emotions because I struggle with that on my own. So it's kind of, something that I'm sure, I'm not the only one that tries to help them emotionally because I feel like that's going to set them up later on when they can know how to feel all their emotions and how to cope with them in a healthy way. So.
For sure. I can absolutely relate to that it was definitely a learning curve to even learn to put the right words to my emotions or to even process those, I think a lot of us were raised in a way that it was just you put on the face and you move forward. Yes. You go past it. And, you have to kind of build that emotional vocabulary. I'm amazed and I'm impressed when my kids can come to me and accurately express what they're feeling in that moment that I'm like, good job. Thank you for telling me. That's really helpful. Now we can process that. But I wholeheartedly agree.
That's really cool. The same thing happens, right? When they can be like, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and there's so many ranges to emotions. But if they can name them, right, that there's a way that they can handle them and cope with them. So I feel like that is a big challenge, especially nowadays with with how our environments are being set up. And we are not living under the traditional 9 to 5 world anymore. So definitely new challenges come up and new opportunities as well. So yeah, we have to learn how to navigate that. So I want to ask you both, anyone can take on, how important do you think delegation is, especially for moms, entrepreneurs, that we wear all the hats and sometimes, self-care. So there's two topics really. It's like how important delegation is for self-care, because I know that actually is the first thing that goes out of the window. Like today, I just try to have a self-care day because I just been running all week. So, but I know that's a challenge for a lot of moms. What are your thoughts on that?
I would love for Shari to jump in and share some of the ways that she's been able to work self-care in.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're kind of talking about the self-care aspect of things, I try to, I'm lucky to be in a position where I really love what I do. And I feel like a lot of times my work is my break from my kids and my kids are my break from the work. And having those two lets me not feel quite as guilty about not doing those things. So if I'm with my kids and I can just focus on them, forget the to-do list, leave that there, know I'll get back to it, and have that time to unwind and kind of be a kid myself again a little bit and have fun and play. And then the work aspect, maybe I'll put on my headphones and listen to some good music and knock out a bunch of work stuff, but I don't have to feel guilty about not spending time with my kids because I know I'm being productive in another area of my life. All of that being said, I try to also be really intentional with those little moments that it can be really easy to just let those 5-10 minute increments slip by. And, maybe you're like, oh my goodness, I have so many things to do, I don't know what to tackle. If that's the case, it's more productive to go lay down and close your eyes for 10 minutes before you have to pick up the kids, or do a little bit of meditation, or read a chapter of the book that you really like. That's more fulfilling, that's more restorative than scrolling through social media or feeling like you're not getting enough done. If you're going to take that time to rest, make sure you take that time to rest. I will also do things like, when my kids were little especially, and they were in that stage where they wanted to watch the same movie every single day, I would sit with them on the couch and I would pop in my earbud and have my phone, and I would listen to a podcast or secretly watch Netflix beside them. And I was able to snuggle with them on the couch, but I didn't have to watch Cars for the 100th time. They watched Cars for the 100th time, and I did what I wanted to do. And it was something we were all able to look forward to. I got to enjoy those moments too. So we can be a little bit creative, especially with technology. I mean, everyone has the earbuds or the Bluetooth headphones that yes, you want to be there, you want to be paying attention to your kids, but we don't have to be tuned in. It's not reasonable to be tuned in 24/7.
Thank you for giving us permission to say that, because a lot of times I laugh because I identify with exactly what you said. Sometimes I'll take the phone, sorry to interrupt, but
no, please do.
Kind of put it away. It's no, I'm not using. It's kind of, it's crazy, but yeah, so giving each other permission to do that, it's okay. Thank you for doing that for me right now. So
good.
Go ahead. Shari.
No, I'm glad that resonated with you. That's sometimes all we need, right? I'll even do that with Karissa, that I'm here's what I'm thinking. Is that okay? Am I, what we're really asking is am I a bad mom if I'm doing that? And it's no, you're going to be a better mom because you allowed yourself to recharge a little bit. You gave yourself those moments. And it's okay to explain to our kids that we need those moments, that there are times where I'm hey guys, I'm feeling cranky today. So can we I'm going to have some space. I need to rest a little bit. I need to do my own thing. If you need something, let me know, especially once your kids are a little bit older and can give you a little bit of space. Just communicating with them. And you're teaching them too that it's okay. And then when they're having those days, they're able to say that to me. I'm are you just having kind of a cranky day? They're yeah. I'm all right, cool. I won't push it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I
I
think
was just gonna say, Carissa, I was just gonna say, it's like we're showing them that as well. They can have those days too. We're
yeah.
not all always on and always showing that perfectionist side, which doesn't even exist because we're struggling on the inside. So awesome. Yes, Carissa, tell us.
I was just going to say something that we do dive more into in the book is the whole self care and just also the whole concept of it doesn't have to be this big spa day. It can be just a bunch of little moments throughout your day, but just by being meaningful and intentional with those moments, you're recharging as you go along. And especially with having multiple children, that's really how I have to structure my day. If I can meet a few of my needs in the morning sporadically, do a few things that I enjoy in the afternoon and in the evening, I'm feeling so much better till I go to bed. I'm not feeling like, man, I just need to take a vacation to get away for, a night or two. Like I really can get through my day so much better. So I think just trying to be intentional and, think of like the five senses and like what are little things that you can do throughout the day to enjoy all those different things, whether it's like a favorite snack or your favorite candle lit beside you while you work, or there's lots of little things that you can do throughout the day that in the end do make a big difference.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
the joy of working from home, right? Like
Yeah.
we can have a great snack. We can have our snuggly blanket. We can wear our pajamas if we want to. We can light our favorite candle and our coworkers won't complain. Like take advantage of those fun little benefits of it.
Yeah.
Go work
So
outside when it's nice.
very, very true. And mentioning the book, I know you guys have a book out, right? So it's Parenting While Working from Home. So I just want to know what inspired you to write the book and what is the book about?
Do you want to start, Karissa?
Sure. So Shari and I started Adore Them Parenting. It's a parenting website that's dedicated to helping others find joy in parenting. We offer a lot of positive tips and solutions and advice for a bunch of different parenting topics. And we've been doing that for about 4 years now. And we have articles that have been published throughout the United States and even in other countries. And we decided that it was time to put a book together. And we're so excited. It just hit shelves the end of January. And we focus on a variety of topics. But the way that the book is broken down, it's broken down by month. Each chapter is a different month. And in each chapter, we're offering a few solutions that are relevant to that specific time, because we know that parenting in December is very different than parenting in July. You can say any month of the year and instantly you think of what stresses, come along with that month. And so by breaking it up that way, it allows a parent to sit down, read a chapter, implement a few new strategies, and then try next month, to see what they can do differently. And then over the course of a year, hopefully you've made a lot of small changes along the way that will make a really big impact in your family overall.
I love the themed monthly that the book goes over, because it's all about building those small little habits, right? Because I'm a coach, so I know that's how important that is. So it's like building that, but I love that it's themed monthly where you are focusing on a different area and you can predict the challenges that you'll go through during all the 12 months throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's a lot more manageable that way, that we understand that parents are busy, that you might not be able to read a book cover to cover. That can feel overwhelming. You can give up on it, after the first couple chapters. So hopefully having it as that like monthly reminder, it's a chance to pick it back up and work through some new things, some new ideas, and start implementing some new things as well.
And the other thing that we did is in each chapter, we focus on a section about you, a section about your kids, and a section about work. So every month you're getting some advice and ideas for all three of those areas.
That's so beautiful. And where can our listeners find the book?
So if you go to our website, adorethemaparenting.com, you'll be able to find the book there, but it's also available from all major retailers. So, Google it, Parenting While Working from Home, and it'll pop up for you.
Absolutely. I'm definitely thinking of going to grab a copy, and I hope our listeners will take advantage of that as well. And I want to ask you, we reached the end of the interview. By the way, I really enjoyed this natural conversation. What is that last message that you want to leave our listeners with as far as parenting is concerned?
Oh, that's a tough one, right? I think overall we can, like I said before, there aren't any hard and fast rules. You need to figure out what works for you. We're all able to provide you with maybe some new ideas or inspiration or reminders, but it really comes down to what's going to work for you and your family. And how can you work together as a family that this isn't parents versus kids? Now that we're all stuck at home a lot more often, how do we work together? How do we, what are your strengths and weaknesses? What are each person's strengths and weaknesses? And how do we come together to really make a happier, calmer, less overwhelming family environment?
Great. Karissa?
Everything that Shari just said. And the other thing I would just like to remind parents too is, it's a phase and kids grow up so fast. And with each phase, there's a different challenge. So while, maybe at this point in your life, you're dealing with potty training or some of those, can be stressful moments, it's not going to last forever. And before you know it, they're going to be a couple months older or a year older, and then you're going to miss that time when they were smaller. So just enjoy it. Enjoy all of it.
Absolutely. Parenting goes by so fast. I cannot even believe how my kids are growing. So I think we have to really focus on those gratitude moments, those small little moments, everyday moments we make with them, those memories, because it will go by so fast. And I feel like life now, it's become so dynamic that they're growing up fast. So everything is a season. I personally want to thank you both for coming on, Karissa and Shari, and very grateful for sharing all these tips and everything that you've shared with us so far. We have reached the end of the interview, so I want to thank you for your time to come on our show today.
Thank you so much for having us. We had a lot of fun.
All right, awesome. So we have also reached the end of the interview, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.